Well, here's a look at the Amped Mobile AMA Series point standings now. Chad Reed took over the points lead last week with his win in St. Louis, but Ricky Carmichael was second with the 25 points deducted for the fuel infraction. He slips to third, 34 points now behind Chad Reed. Now let's show you the Amped Mobile World GP point standings. Now the FIM is the sanctioning body for the World Series. They have not ruled on the fuel yet, so Ricky Carmichael maintains that points lead for now, just one in front of James Stewart. Well, let's introduce you to the third member of our broadcast crew, Chris Devoto, who's standing by with last week's winner.
Well, Chad called this the most important win of his career. Now, Chad, you didn't say biggest, but you did say most important. Why so?
I just think that it was obviously a turning point in the season. I mean, you know, when your two closest competitors have horrible nights, I mean, you need to capitalize on it as much as you can. And you know, and I just felt that, you know, on that weekend, I found some speed and found some confidence in the main event.
Well, now, you know, it was a two-man battle between Carmichael and Stewart. Now, with Ricky's points infraction, it's a two-man battle between Stewart and yourself. Do you feel like you have the upper hand?
You know, I feel like I have, you know, a lot of good things. You know, I enjoy the rest of the part of the season. You know, and as does he. You know, he lives on the East Coast as well. So I'm just looking forward to, you know, being confident and having some speed. And, you know, I really feel for Ricky. I've been in that spot, and it's not a good spot, you know, because we don't have any control over that. You know, all the team guys, you know, we don't put one drop of gas in that bike, and so it's completely out of our hands. So, you know, a lot of people will call me and like telling me, and I'm just like, man, I end up turning my phone off. I said, it's not cool. I don't like it, and really feel for him. So, you know, hopefully he gets back out there and we can battle and, you know, try and get some wins. He can be second place guy and try and get 5 on James.
Well, one thing's for sure, this championship battle is now wide open. Chad Reed feels like he's the one driving the bus.
All right, Krista, thank you. And now we have a special guest in the booth.
Factory Kawasaki rider Michael Byrne is going to take us around the lap here at the Georgia Dome. Take it away, Burner.
Yeah, here at Atlanta this week, we're working with a little bit different soil than what we're used to. You know, it's the red Georgia clay, and you know, it gets really ruddy and it's really sticky. You know, and like the jumps are really starting to cup our loop. You got to be really careful you don't get pitched, and try and stay straight and keep up the momentum. And as you can see by here, like there's a few little tricky sections. You know, you get a double. We might triple that through there in the night show, but do the big triple. You're going to come into this new sand section. It's not really straight sand. It's more of a, I don't know, like a road-based mix, and we want to try and keep the momentum in that. Try and step up on this tabletop and off. You know, keep that flow going the whole way around the track. As you can see from the takeoff of the triple, there's a few ruts in there. And, you know, the corners here are starting to get a little chewed out too. So as you come into the whoops, there's a little straightaway. You want to try and charge it into there, and then try and keep the momentum across the whoops. You know, you make a left, some whoops here before the finish, and that's a lap here at Atlanta.
Here's a look at tonight's road to the main event. We'll have 2 heat races, 8 laps each, 20 riders. Top 4 advance straight to the main. Everybody else goes on to the semis, which will be 6 laps, 16 riders. Top 5 out of each of those transferring to the main. 6 laps, 22 riders in your final shot at the main. That's known as the last chance qualifier. Top 2 advancing on to the final race of the night. 20 riders, 20 laps here in the Georgia Dome. Now here's Chris Devoto with our Progressive Direct pre-race report.
I think the first thing we have to document tonight is the energy that is felt in the Georgia Dome. A sold-out capacity crowd. They are all on the edge of their seats, and they are going to get quite a treat right off the bat. This first heat race has 2 of the sports superstars, James Stewart and Ricky Carmichael. I cannot believe the electricity that is in this crowd. We are in for quite a night.
Let's show you our start list for tonight. For heat number 1, the Dunlop starting list, and Krista, 70,000 folks on hand, the largest crowd this season to witness a Supercross. And in this one, James Stewart and Ricky Carmichael, Denny, heat right off the bat.
Yep, you might as well just get it out of the way early. We haven't had a chance to see these guys race in the heat race in quite some time. Right now, these guys are going to make it happen in heat race number 1.
To the corner is James Stewart, and Carmichael's right behind him in second. With everything that Ricky Carmichael's gone through today, Denny, how does he focus to go racing now?
Well, we heard it in his interview. He basically said, you know what, it's time for me to have some fun, race for some wins, and let the chips lay where they might. And right now this is a perfect opportunity for him to make a statement and try and make a pass of James and run away with this heat race win.
James Stewart on the factory Kawasaki number 7 being chased by the factory Suzuki Makita-backed machine, the Ricky Carmichael number 4, the bright yellow bike. Boy, and James Stewart just blitzes through the whoops. And Denny, we haven't seen these two in heat race competition that much this year.
No, definitely they've been watching each other from the start line, comparing lap times back in the truck. Speaking of lap times in practice, Ricky Carmichael last weekend, he was the fastest guy by almost a second. Tonight in Atlanta, he's almost 2 seconds off Chad Reed's pace and just over a second slower than James. So I don't know if all this stuff has been going on with Ricky. He's kind of messing with his head a little bit. And now he's trying to clear it or what. But a new Ricky Carmichael we're seeing, because he was not that fast in practice.
And St. Louis was not a good week for Carmichael as well. He had a streak of 35 consecutive podium finishes come to an end last week in St. Louis. So yeah, that was a lousy night, and he shows up here in Atlanta, has to deal with the fuel issue. A lot of things going on for Ricky Carmichael right now.
Bad things going down, but something also rider down in the whoop section. That's Mike Larocco, number 5, that dropped the front end, went over the bars. Mike right now just hoping to get up and put in that semifinal, but back to Ricky Carmichael. I've never seen someone have to deal with as much adversity in the last 10 days that he's had to deal with. Talk about a world of problems just snowballing. Ricky Carmichael just dealing with all kinds of headaches, points deductions. It's going to see what kind of man this guy is, and if he can overcome what he's having to deal with in 2006, he'll just solidify his legend status.
Well, you don't become a 4-time champion without carrying a few weights on your shoulder. And there's no doubt about it that Ricky Carmichael can do that, and he's not afraid to take on the challenge. But here's the challenge he has right now. This man right here, James Stewart, his best lap time in the heat race so far, a 52.4. Ricky almost a full second slower. Stay with us. We're coming back with more of heat race number 1 from the Georgia Dome right after this on Speed. Still out in front on that bright green Kawasaki number 7, but lurking in the back, Ricky Carmichael. Remember, the top 4 transfers straight to the main. Those are the riders in green numbers. Those in red still looking to improve. Carmichael knows that the real battle comes in the main event. 20 riders, 20 laps here tonight.
This whoop section's challenging coming through this final lap. I think this is a great chance for Ricky Carmichael to drop his lap times, and he's definitely going to learn to use some of that in that main event.
Checkered flag goes to Stewart. Carmichael just 1.2 seconds behind as they cross the finish line. Well, you know the top 2 finishers. Let's show you the other 2 riders that transferred out. Michael Byrne, who is James Stewart's factory Kawasaki teammate, and Ryan Clark and his Honda going on to the main event. Here's Krista.
When we talked to him in St. Louis, obviously James Stewart was bummed, but kind of, are you back on top now with that heat performance?
You know, probably not. You know, I didn't ride that good in the heat race, and just got an awesome start and put it in the first corner, and got to get some good laps in. You know, I just rode a little tight, but it's going to be a good main event.
Yeah, it definitely will be, and a good start can do wonders.
Check out the Dude for a Day Supercross style sweepstakes. You can win a Kawasaki KX 450F plus a trip to Las Vegas and the AMA Supercross finale to pick it up. In Vegas, you'll have the ultimate Supercross weekend. You'll get to spend time in the Kawasaki team garage, hang out with the factory team, and even crash the awards banquet. To enter, log on to speedtv.com with this weekly code word, which is SPEED. Plus, you can get all the details and official rules. Do it for a day, Supercross style, presented by Kawasaki. Let the good times roll. And right out of that into our Dunlop starting list for heat number 2. Well, we saw what James Stewart and Ricky Carmichael could do. In this heat, we get to see the new points leader, Chad Reed, in action, Denny.
Yeah, what a difference a week makes. Last weekend in St. Louis in the heat race, Chad Reed admittedly said, man, I just couldn't get the job done. And right now, he's the points leader, and he's carrying all the momentum tonight in Atlanta.
For another Progressive Direct pre-race report, let's check in one more time with Krista.
Confidence is a dangerous thing. That was the statement Chad Reed made following his win last week. He knows in this sport your fate can change just like that. He is not going to take it for granted.
Well, there is Chad Reed. Talked to him earlier today, Denny. He said, I just cannot put into words the amount of weight that has been taken off my shoulders. And there's our onboard camera, Tyler Evans, the Team Bloodshot Rockstar rider, carrying it for us, one of the best privateers in the business. Fonseca. And Chad Reed just almost by him, but ends up landing on top of him. And he is down and going to go all the way to the back.
Wow, big mistake there with Chad Reed and Ernesto. Chad just gave it a little bit too much, got in the air, and just got in the back end of Ernesto. And he kind of got hung up on the foot peg of Ernesto. And man, just like that, like Chris has said, the momentum can change so quickly. Chad had all of it, coming in with the fastest lap time of the night. Points lead. Boom, just like that, Chad Reed's on the ground and has to start this heat race number 2 from dead last.
And just like that, David Villemin is your leader as you're still on board with Tyler Evans. Now there's Reed, dead last, trying to catch the tail of the field. How far can he go? Do you think he can get one of those top 4 transfers, or is he looking at a trip to the main, to the semis before he catches this man, David Villemin?
Well, I've underestimated what Chad can get done. You know, I said in the mud of San Francisco that I thought maybe things were done, and he charged all the way back to 5th, and I don't count anything out with Chad Reed. This is a chance for him to kind of turn things around and get some of that momentum back. But you can see right here, Chad just gets too much air. He jumps off this last jump. Well, Ernesto kind of dives the inside. Chad is still airborne. They lock bars, and down Chad goes, and he's got to wait for him to go by and start this heat race in 20th.
And get your goggles and helmet fixed all at the same time. You can see him trying to adjust them. Well, he's finally caught a couple of riders and is gaining a couple of positions, but he's got a long way to go to get one of those top 4 transfer spots. Meanwhile, David Villemin leads. Fonseca's up to 2nd. Ivan Tedesco sits in 3rd, and we'll be back for more right after this here in Atlanta. Georgia, where we've got a great fight for the lead here in heat number 2. And we can't underline enough how much David Villemin needs a much better performance this week as opposed to last week.
Yeah, I talked to David earlier, him and his wife were walking through the pits, and David said, you know what, I just don't know what happened last week. I just got some bad starts, was unable to pass guys I usually pass all the time, and just went home, practiced, just tried to focus and get myself ready for this weekend.
And a heat race win will do a lot to boost that confidence level.
Any kind of win. I don't care where you're at, if it's a preliminary, just getting out front, get that little taste of victory, and do wonders for your confidence. And right now, Villemin, who is unable to even run the pace of some of the guys, is doing battle with 2 of the podium guys from last weekend.
Speaking of pace, this one not as fast as what we saw in heat 1 with James Stewart and Ricky Carmichael. Villemin's best at 55.4, about 3 seconds off of what we saw from heat number 1.
Well, James and Chad are always setting the standard, and so is Ricky. And speaking of Chad, Chad's all the way up to 6th place. He needs 2 more spots if he hopes to make it this main event and avoid the semifinal.
And he is the fastest rider on the track with a 54.5, and there is Reed right there trying to catch Nick Way. He's got to get around Nick Way and Travis Preston to earn a direct transfer. And here comes a battle for the lead across the finish line. Jeff Fonseca alongside Villemin. Villemin fighting back.
Great battle. They're using all the track. David goes wide. Ernesto goes inside of it. David takes a quick lance, dives back to the inside. And meanwhile, these guys are using up all their time, blocking each other. Here comes Ivan Tedesco, makes the move on David Villemin, and quickly sets his sights on Ernesto.
And Villemin goes from the lead to 3rd. Travis Preston still holds down 4th.
These guys talk about, we ask why sometimes there's a more aggressive ride, why they slam it and bang it. The perfect answer is, you know what, if I'm banging with the guy in 3rd is going to make up the gap and close it up. That was a perfect example right there. Ivan saw David and Ernesto battling out. He saw, I'm going to take advantage of it. He quickly passed David, kind of caught him by surprise, and now Ernesto's got his hands full.
1 more corner for Fonseca, and he'll have a heat race win here tonight in the Georgia Dome. There it is. Fonseca takes the win. Tedesco gets 2nd. Villemin holds on for 3rd. Tyler Evans drops a few more spots back. Preston gets the final transfer. Well, the plot twists of this year's season have been unbelievable. Here's a look at the top 4 in heat number 2, and not on the board, Chad Reed. He falls in one of the first couple of corners of the heat race, ends up finishing 6th. He now has to go to a semi to fight his way into the main. Krista?
Ernesto Fonseca very tired after that heat race. He's just taking his helmet off now. A little winded when he came off the bike. We'll get a word with him. Ernesto, that was a hard-fought one there with you and David Villemin. You're a little tired after that one?
Thanks a lot. Yeah, I mean, a little bit tired. You know, it was, like you said, a hard one, but my factory Honda got me off to a great start, and what can I say? Just want to thank everybody at Answer Takaraki, Showa Helmets, Oakley, Vans, my wife, for helping me out at home, and everyone, thanks a lot.
All right, we always talk about the big 3, but this guy's going to be tough to beat in that main as well.
All right, Krista, thank you. Check out the Dude for a Day Supercross style sweepstakes. You could win a Kawasaki KX450F, plus a trip to Las Vegas in the AMA Supercross finale to pick it up. In Vegas, you'll have the ultimate Supercross weekend. You'll get to spend time in the Kawasaki team garage, hang out with the factory team, and even crash the awards banquet. To enter, log on to speedtv.com with this weekly code word, which is SPEED. Plus, you can get all the details and official rules, Dude for a Day Supercross style, presented by Kawasaki. Let the good times roll. Well, we'll be back for more great action from the Georgia Dome here on Speed. Stay with us. Here tonight inside the Georgia Dome, getting set for the main event coming up next. Tonight on Speed, Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain heats up the airwaves. Join Dave for his scorching opinions, fired up fans on the hottest stars in motorsports. Tonight, Dave welcomes Busch Series Rookie of the Year contender Bernie Lamar to the tunnel. Plus, he'll have his opinion on the entire weekend in motorsports. Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain tonight at 9 Eastern, only on Speed. Some other winners tonight included Brock Sellards in semi number 1 on the Thor Cernix Racing Parts Unlimited Honda. Semi number 2 went to the factory Yamaha Chad Reed. Reed had to get into the main the tough way, got around Kyle Lewis on the 23, took the win, and goes on to tonight's main event. And Tyler Evans, the privateer on the Team Bloodshot Rockstar Suzuki, has made another main by winning the Last Chance qualifier. Wednesday night on Speed, don't miss the Hit Series Pinks. Watch as egos, pride, and titles are all on the line, along with classic rides, crotch rocket bikes, and custom-built dragsters. No lights, no tricks. The premise is simple. Lose the race, and you lose your ride. Pinks, Wednesday nights exclusively on Speed. It's a full day of action at a Supercross event. The Pit Party, just one of the many things to do on a big Supercross weekend when the series rolls into your town. Make sure you come on out, take in the races. Set for the Supercross main event, 20 riders, 20 laps around this red clay here inside the Dome. Before we get ready to go racing, let's get another Progressive Direct pre-race report from Krista.
A lot of tight turns on this track tonight, including this one in between rhythm sections. We also want to show you a look at this red clay we've been talking about. Check this out. Look at how sticky it is. It packs very well. A lot of the riders like it. Down in this section here, you see it gets a little rutted out. Right down here, that's because a lot of these riders take this flat line to gain some speed going into this double.
Well, last year's race was a good one, and this year should be every bit as exciting. Here's a look at our Dunlop starting list. Ricky Carmichael, Mike LaRocco, James Stewart, you know all the big names, and they've all made it into the main event, Denny, but for some of them like Reed, it was a tough road to get in there.
Like last weekend, Chad Reed has struggled. He struggled this heat race with the crash, struggled with a poor start in a semi. Like you said, he's got to get through the first turn first. If you can't get out front and run with the big boys, James and Ricky, by the time you get up front, those guys will be long gone. And if you're going to do it, you do it just like that. Chad Reed from the very outside grabs the whole shot, and right now James Stewart is on the ground.
Unbelievable! The plot twist continues. Stewart still can't get the bike started. There he goes, and meanwhile, Chad Reed is disappearing. Ricky Carmichael, however, about 7th place.
This is where Chad Reed goes, you know what, I'm just going to hit the reset button. I'm going to do what I did last week. I'm just going to start all over, and I'm going to get out front and run. And that's where he's at. And he's got his little nemesis, Ivan Tedesco, right there in 2nd. Michael Byrne in 3rd. You couldn't write a better story than what we're seeing right now.
You sure could. Ryan Clark back in 4th. Behind him is Ernesto Fonseca and then Carmichael. And way at the back is James Stewart. There is Ricky Carmichael trying to catch up to Fonseca. We've talked all about the fuel issues. What can Ricky Carmichael do now, Denny? All he can do really, I guess, is focus on getting as many of those points back as quickly as he can tonight.
It's no problem worrying about points. Right now, Ricky Carmichael just got to worry about catching this guy, Chad Reed. Talk about just flipping the page, just erase what he just accomplished in his earlier races. It comes in sweeping from the outside. A lot of good starts been coming from the outside tonight. Reedy just turns it around out front right now. He wants to prove last week it was not a fluke. He did not luck out by getting the win. Look at this jumping through the whoops. He has that section down right there. The quickest way to get over a bunch of whoops that are all rutted out, jump over the top of them.
But you've got to have the mental strength to do that. You just don't waltz in there. You got to have total commitment to do that.
Chad's mind, it could go one way, it could go another way. Right now, he is looking all confident, looking like the guy we saw in practice. Cleared his mind of that poor heat, that poor semi. He is out front proving that he is the points leader and he is the favorite.
Carmichael is racing Michael Byrne. That's because he's already gotten around Fonseca, and that's how he did it.
You do it right there. You just disregard who's in front of you. You get to the front as fast as you can. The longer it takes to get by the guy, the more time you're going to lose when the guy you try to beat and need to beat is already out front.
Last week's win in St. Louis was the 50th podium and 55 starts for Reed, and Carmichael is now around Byrne and up to third. You know, you've always said, Denny, if you're going to win a championship, you got to keep making it onto the box, and he's doing it again, is Ricky Carmichael.
Well, you know, you don't want to make Ricky Carmichael mad, and he is obviously upset at the situation that happened with his fuel. It's a big turnaround. I don't agree with it, but you just don't know. It's just with the AMA, rules are rules. Ricky Carmichael's going to do everything he can to make up all those points he lost. Got to set his sights on this guy who is right now 34 points ahead of him, and that's a lifetime in Supercross.
And maybe going to extend it here tonight. Let's take you back to our progressive direct hole shot and show you how he got it done.
Coming from the outside right there, Chad Reed coming in and just wide open. He had such a jump, he didn't have to slow down for anybody else, and he gets the hole shot and takes off out front.
Now what happened to James Stewart? Watch this.
James Stewart gets collected. You see all these guys just right there. That's David Volleman. He gets clawed up. And just like that, James Stewart goes from a tough night. There's Brock Sellards.
Jeff DeMett's in there as well on the 38. Meanwhile, there's James Stewart back up to 11. Talked to James Stewart earlier today about after the 2 rounds in Canada, how things were going, and he said, you know, what really got me going this year was I got a letter from a youngster in the mail after the 2 races in Canada, and this kid said to me, hey, please slow down and give Ricky and Chad a shot this year. And he said that gave me a big smile, made me realize I'm really back in the good graces of the fans, ready to go racing. Boy, nobody's going to give Chad Reed any advantages now, though, as fast as he's been.
Well, Chad just threw down a 54.3. Ricky Carmichael has the fastest lap time on the track with a 53.7, and he just passed his teammate Ivan Tedesco, and he set the stage for a repeat of last year. Chad Reed took the lead when Ricky Carmichael passed him in 2005. Carmichael fought back, blew by Kevin Windham with an elbow, and set his sights on Chad Reed. Right now, Ricky Carmichael needs to make up 5 seconds, and he needs to make up 34 points. That's even more important.
And which one's tougher? Probably those 34 points, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, 34 points in 9 rounds.
Can it be done, Denny?
You know, you just never count out Ricky Carmichael, ever. And the first thing he's going to do, he's coming through the pack, but right now, he's got to get this pass to hand him. This is a possible 6-point swing. He needs to reel in Chad Reed.
Well, the biggest thing is, I don't think necessarily whether or not, you know, Ricky's capable of it, but the way the block twist's been going this year, every week, every lap, something different happens. You never know. You just can't give up this year.
Yeah, and you couldn't write a better story than what's happened in 2006. Last weekend with Ricky going down, pulling off the main event, James Stewart getting a 17, and Chad Reed making up 21 and 24 points respectively. I couldn't have guessed that. I would have bet the house Chad Reed wouldn't have left St. Louis for points lead. Chad wouldn't have thought he would have lead the points lead. That's why he raced 16 rounds. That's why the sport of Supercross is so excited, and why there's 70,000 people here tonight.
Well, he's looking to go back-to-back tonight, Krista. What else do you have for us on Chad Reed?
That last lap, Chad Reed just raced a 54.5. That was the time on the last lap. Alan Olson, his mechanic, wrote one word on the board, work. That's something Chad Reed has been doing a lot, especially in the off-season. We've been talking a lot about how the tracks have changed a little bit because these 450s and 450s don't kind of cover the tracks the same. Well, Chad had all of his tracks change to the Supercross spec. Said he has a good friend in Florida who's been helping him with his technique. It's definitely showing through tonight.
The only problem with those 55s or 54s, 54.5s I should say, is that Carmichael's down to 53.6. Well, now, just with that, Chad Reed joins him in the 53.6 range, Denny.
Well, Chad knows. Last weekend, he flipped the switch. When James Stewart, who we're seeing right here, who's currently in 8th place, when James Stewart passed Reed last week, Stewart made a mistake in the rhythm section. Reed passed him back, and all of a sudden you can just see the clouds clear in Chad Reed's mind. He quickly dispersed it. Tedesco opened up a 13-second lead. A new man was born. We're seeing that right now. Chad Reed out front, but still 4 seconds back is Ricky Carmichael.
We're watching James Stewart dealing with Nick Way. That's a battle for 6. Give that position to James. And he's working his way up too, Kenny, and all those points starting to come back with each of those positions he gains.
Every position, like I said, is a huge point. You know, these guys, you just never know what's going to happen. The last 2 weekends, 2 of our favorites go down the first turn, and Chad Reed has capitalized. His smooth style, the guy we saw that said it's right in the box of control way too much, he seems to be the smartest guy on the track lately.
Last week with his win in St. Louis, Chad Reed got his 24th Supercross win, becoming 5th on the all-time Supercross win list. Going for number 25 here tonight, Atlanta, and you're riding along as you watch Ricky Carmichael chasing this man, Chad Reed, who's leading here in the Georgia Dome. But he's got company because the Makita Suzuki rider, Ricky Carmichael, is right on him, Denny.
Yep, this was a 3-second lead, a 2-second lead. Now it's just a matter of bike lengths. You do not want to make Ricky Carmichael angry. A mad Ricky Carmichael, he's going to blow his way past Chad Reed just like this. We're still on last season. Ricky Carmichael returned the favor here in 2006.
Carmichael has taken over the lead.
Gives a quick glance over his shoulder, looks back at Chad again. You got to remember, Chad Reed is up at this point by 34 points. This win is not as important to him as maybe Ricky Carmichael, but Chad Reed wants to make a statement. Last week was not a fluke.
5 championships between these 2 riders. Carmichael, a 4-time champion. Reed has 1 championship on his mantle. Looking for his 2nd. Ricky Carmichael's weekend clouded with the fuel issue. And he would like nothing more than to come back, stand on top of that podium tonight, and say, my team doesn't cheat, and we just proved it here tonight. We don't need to cheat to win. I think that's what Carmichael would tell this crowd of 70,000.
Yeah, I don't even want to use the word cheat with what happened. It was a leaded fuel deal. Lead does not make a 4-stroke go faster. It was just a rule that's in the books for the 2 strokes. He got caught up in a bad situation. AMA set precedence with Chad Reed 2 years ago, James Stewart last season. Rule's a rule, but you can't even throw the word cheat out there because it was just a mistake and an accident with the fuels. And right now, Chad, Ricky Carmichael proving everybody wrong.
Danny, what Roger DeCoster, the team manager for Suzuki, told me is, look, with a 250, lead would help you with detonation. But with a 450, if I was looking for a way to cheat, I would want more oxygen in the motor, not lead.
They had a very low oxygen count, really. I talked to Goose. Gosler, as the mechanic said, you know, Ricky rides a bike very hot. We don't want to run more oxygen because we don't want to blow the thing up. But we're just running by as stock as BP gas as you can. And a big mistake happened, and he lost 25 points. But right now, he's out front. Chad Reed is not giving up.
In fact, the oxygen level in the Suzuki was a 1.79, and it could be as high as a 2.80 and be legal. In fact, most of the teams will tell you they don't need more horsepower with these 450s. They got more than they can handle right now already.
Yep, and Chad Reed just keeps grabbing a bigger handful right now. Look at him go through the whoops. He goes through with about 2 jumps right there, and he is not giving up. This is a new Chad Reed. He is focused. He put away his bad heat race in semifinal, and now he has Ricky Carmichael back in his sights. He is not giving up right now. He's not going to succumb and give this win to Ricky Carmichael.
Carmichael making his 100th Supercross start this weekend.
Both riders run 53.7 on that last lap. Their best lap times are in the 53.0 for Ricky, a 53.1 for Chad Reed. Both these riders are stepping it up in this main event.
You know, one more thing about that fuel issue to tell you how big it's gotten as you watch Ivan Tedesco. He's in 3rd, and guess who's closing in on him? Yeah, James Stewart. Meanwhile, Carmichael continues to work his way around some of the lap traffic. That was Mike Brown on the 3. Denny, I talked to one key individual with one of the top factory teams, and he told me they've already spent as much as $10,000 just this year alone and making sure they keep checking their fuel so that it stays legal. That's a lot of money, and if that's what the factories are spending, what's happening to the poor privateers trying to keep legal?
It's got to be it's a tough rule. It's something that needs to be looked at. Can't have something as simple as that decide a championship, which we're having to deal with right now, but Carmichael making a statement. Come from way back in the pack, chase down Chad Reed. Look at Reed. Just keeping him honest.
I'll tell you, the biggest thing that could help Ricky Carmichael right now is if Ivan Tedesco can stay in front of James Stewart and keep Stewart from getting a few more points.
That's a 2-point swing if Ivan can keep James back there in fourth. And as we've learned in every championship, every year, every point's going to count. Whether it be two, whether it be few. And here comes James Stewart, just like that. Jumps on, jumps off, and jumps inside Ivan Tedesco to take over third. But he's lost value. He's losing valuable points to Chad Reed right now.
Fastest lap time of the night right now belongs to Carmichael with a 53.0. Reed has gotten down to a 53.1. Stewart's best a 54.3.
But he's had to come through traffic. He's had to deal with other riders. We things stay the same right now. Chad Reed will lead with a 19-point lead over James Stewart, but do not count him out. That's why I love watching these guys. These are these three best riders in the world, obviously. And the way they can learn, the way they can pick up their pace with this in a matter of laps. As they go by Travis versus Preston, Reed wasn't running Ricky's pace. Ricky reeled him in. Reed was able to watch what Ricky's been doing. He's picked up his pace, and now they're running the exact same lap times.
You saw Travis Preston pulling off the racetrack, and we go on board now. Tyler Evans, the privateer, carrying our helmet camera here tonight on his Team Bloodshot Rockstar Suzuki.
As a matter of fact, Reed threw down a half-second faster in that last lap than Ricky, and they have a clear track, no lap traffic.
Tyler, by the way, running in 11th. Carmichael trying to do something Suzuki has never done, and that's go back-to-back here in Atlanta. Carmichael, of course, the winner last year.
Ricky changing up that line before the triples. He had been going to the inside. They're down to plywood because the ruts are developing, and Chad Reed, they're both those guys taking the outside. But Chad Reed is closing the gap as they round up lap number 16 here. Lap number 17, I'm sorry.
3 to go. All right. Can Reed get him? And if so, where do you see it happening?
It's been a tough track for these guys to pass on. They've had to deal with a lot of it. Reed saw it in the semi. He had to deal with guys. It took him forever to get around guys. He usually just takes seconds to get around, but it's going to have to take a mistake by Carmichael to open up the door big enough for Reed to get by.
And Stewart's too far back, by the way. If you're wondering, he doesn't stand a chance of catching these two. He's going to have to settle for third.
28 seconds back off this lead duo. That's the line I was talking about. Carmichael was going the inside for that triple jump, losing time. Why these guys are so good? He realized that. He knew, man, I'm not feeling fast here. So he went wide, used that line to make up some time. Now they're even that section. But I think right now Chad Reed's a little bit faster through that whoop section. End of 18, 2 to go.
Boy, what a year for Ricky Carmichael. The ups and downs he's had this year. It's really hard, Denny, to say who's had bigger ups and downs between these three.
Oh, Reed makes a big mistake right there. Loses valuable time. That could have been the race right there. Got a little sideways in that rhythm section. Carmichael was able to get through it a lot smoother, and just like that, that might be the comfort level to get him to this final.
Might be all he needs with about a lap and a half to go.
Chad Reed will still lead here. He finishes second with a 19-point lead over Stewart and 31 over Carmichael.
It's going to be interesting to hear what Ricky Carmichael has to say. He gets a chance to talk to Krista. There's James Stewart. Carmichael with just one more lap to go. It was his 100th start here tonight in Supercross competition. Carmichael comfortable now. Had a big crash in St. Louis, and he knows he was looking for a way to pump his team back up, and no better way to do that than to deliver them a win.
A great win. A win from about 7th place in the opening lap. Reed out front.
Ricky Carmichael getting ready to take the checkered flag. One more trip through the whoops and one more corner. Here he comes. Ricky Carmichael gets his 4th win of 2006. What will he say? It's been a tough weekend for the Suzuki team. Stay with us. We'll talk to him when we come back.
For pride, Ricky Carmichael makes a huge statement after a very difficult week. Ricky, anything you would like to say about your fuel infraction, the AMA, or of course your race tonight?
You know, I know my team don't mess around, and it's a shame. Good things happen to good people, and what you've seen tonight, I don't know. I think I'm the real champion. You know, it's a shame. You know, we could go on and on about it, but what's done is done, and I appreciate all the fans sticking behind me, and I've never been in a position like this. I'm just disappointed in the way it's been handled, and it's a shame. You know, I can't even defend myself, and you know what? So I watched these two guys battle it out, and just maybe it'll be a bittersweet victory for them if I can keep on winning.
Ricky Carmichael does some talking tonight, but the loudest talking he does, of course, with his bike. He gets the win.
All right, Krista, let's take a look at the results. And Ricky Carmichael has tied Jeremy McGrath with a record 5 Atlanta Supercross wins. Ricky now having won make that 5 of the last 6 races here in the Georgia Dome. As we make our way back through the field, another tough weekend for David Villeman as he finishes last here tonight. James Stewart still in the mix, though, for this championship, Krista.
In the mix, indeed. You know, it was a very tough week for James Stewart also last week. You come back, you're on the podium. Is that enough? We know consistency is going to pay off.
I'm a few points back, and I want to get up here and battle with these guys. You know, that's what we've been doing all season, and you know, Ricky rode a good race. Chad did too, and just unfortunately, I never gave myself a chance. Felt good tonight. I felt strong, and just got tangled up with some rider, and that was the end of the story.
All right, he did fight his way back to finish 3rd.
How ironic that statement was from James Stewart. That's what we were hearing out of Chad Reed so much coming into the season. I just want to get up there and battle with those guys. Who would have thought we would hear James Stewart saying that? Of course, this is all culminating in Las Vegas in May. And Speed will be right there to bring you the end of what has been a tremendous season. Make sure you stay with us all the way through it. Here's a look at the point standings. This is the Amped Mobile AMA standings now. Reed, 19 in front of Stewart. Carmichael picks up a couple. He's 31 back behind those two in the fight for his 5th championship. In the Amped Mobile World Supercross GP standings, remember, the FIM has still not ruled on the fuel issue with Ricky Carmichael, so Ricky extends that points lead now to 6 over Stewart, who is tied with Chad Reed. Krista?
After his semi, Chad Reed was looking for a good start. You got that tonight, but unfortunately you have to settle for 2nd.
You know, it's not too bad, you know. I got the whole shot. I was like, man, I spent a long time on the start just grooming my little pad there, and I knew that I had to get it, and I got it, and I was so pumped, and too pumped, you know. I just kind of was out there. I haven't been out there all year long just like that, and just rode tight. Didn't really put laps together, so a little disappointed in that, but other than that, it was good, you know. I was happy to get out there, you know, go with Ricky, battle a little bit, and just learn some things, you know, and wasn't prepared to throw it down tonight to get out there and just go a little bit, you know, a little faster. Felt that I had a few little better lines that maybe I could have tried, but you know, it slipped away those last couple of laps. So you know, I'm happy for that, and you know, I just think the team, they did a great job this weekend. You know, fixing the bike up in the semi and all that. Guys at Amped Mobile, they, you know, just unbelievable, you know, and Scott, Bridgestone, you know, all the guys, parts of women, just real happy to kind of get up here and be on this podium.
All right, the win slips away, the points lead does not.
Here's our Buku Big Air moment of the race. Of course, Ricky Carmichael airing out a whole lot of frustration here tonight and getting a big win. Well, a lot of great Supercross action coming your way. Here's our Toyota coming up. Moving forward of all the great racing we're bringing you this season. Next Supercross show from Indianapolis, Sunday, March 5th, 6 p.m. Next Supercross lights from right here in Atlanta, Saturday, March 4th, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you tune in for all of it. Well, the plot twists continue. It all began with a big fuel story. In the end, Ricky Carmichael gets another win. For Chris Devoda and Denny Stevenson, I'm Ralph Shaheen. So long from Atlanta, where Ricky Carmichael is your winner. As riders get